Welcome to Stitches in Time, the podcast discussing Doctor Who the way it was meant to be watched, in chronological order, one clip at a time, starting at the Big Bang and ending with the heat death of the universe. I'm Becca, the Matrix archivist, and I spent the last 12 years of my life meticulously editing the entire televised Doctor Who universe into chronological order.
And I'm Mandy, and I've listened to Fall Out Boy before.
Great.
I should clarify, not like religiously. Don't ask me to do one of their songs. The main thing that I remember is like when they first came out and they had the song with the music video, and it was a deer guy. It was a deer guy, and I'm still not entirely convinced that was Fall Out Boy and not Panic at the Disco. I'm a little confused as to which one is which. But they had a deer guy in the music video, and they're just always the band that had the deer guy in the music video.
Unless they weren't. Unless it was Panic at the Disco. That's amazing, and already you've eclipsed my own knowledge of Fall Out Boy and Panic at the Disco. So well done.
Panic at the Disco, I know as the band that is no longer a band, and now it's just one guy because everybody else, I guess, left the disco. And I don't know if it was
panicked.
Because there was... Yeah, was it too panicked or not enough panicked?
Oh, I assume they were leaving because, like, when you panic, you get out of the situation you're in.
Yeah. And the reason why I'm talking about this and why I need to state my very limited credentials is because in this week's episode, we have a guy with emo hair, and it's surprise emo hair.
That's true. We are today talking about Flux, Chapter 6, The Vanquishers, but specifically just the shot of the Grand Serpent being stranded on an asteroid, which is, let me check my notes here, 11 seconds total of time.
Yeah, so I got kind of confused when I was going through the clips, and I was like, oh, this is the one with because you are very good about, you give a little description about what's happening, and that is also actually on Stitches in Time itself. So you can see what's going on, and it's like, oh, the Grand Serpent is being exiled. I see a big rock. There's not a lot else there, but I didn't see a single snake.
That is true.
I was expecting a big snake, and I was like, I think I'm in the wrong clip.
Oh no,
There's no snake.
I'm so sorry for your loss and confusion. That's awful.
Yeah, I like the real Flux was me being flummoxed about where the snake was.
I would love to see a 6-part Doctor Who episode called The Flummox. That would be incredible.
Like, hey, why did you do that? Where's the snake? Because there is a big snake in Doctor Who. I've seen a big snake before. It's like attacks a companion. Yeah,
so let me start by saying the Grand Serpent does have snake powers.
Okay. Why isn't he a snake?
He sort of is. In that he's a scheming, dastardly guy. But also he's part of I think they call it in the show a demi-species that's like two species together, and he throughout Flux he kills people by summoning a snake inside their body and killing them.
But that makes me think that you're like a centaur, and he was not a snake tour. He was not like, oh yeah, he's like half of two different, they're like a hybrid. There's homunculus. We've watched Full Metal Alchemist. We know how this goes. It wasn't that. It was just a guy, like, my notes, because again, being very thorough, I take this podcast very seriously. I take notes. I have, here are my little notes. I have guy with jacket, walking, big rock, flash, turn around. emo hair surprise.
That is, I think, the best summary of this clip that
That's
could
the
possibly
entire.
happen.
He's just walking in the back. He's just a guy with a jacket. Like, it's a neat jacket, but it's like, it feels like the sort of thing that you find in an Express. Like Express Men, and like I back when that was a little bit more quality.
Sure.
I feel like they've kind of gone a little downhill, but it's like it's a neat jacket. I feel like it might be a little fast fashion. Uh, but he's just walking and there's a big rock. He's in space. There's not a whole lot else around.
Hmm.
And then he's a big flash and turns around, and that's when we get to actually see him. And he has emo hair, by which I mean he just has dark hair and then like a little white streak in it. So I thought this was a guy like in like an emo band who he was checking out his new Coachella venue.
Um, you know, I could see that being his origin story for sure.
Is the snake, maybe he's gonna do like a Britney Spears kind of thing where he has the snake kind of on him while he sings.
Mm.
Um Also, I don't want to I want to go back to, you said this guy kills people by putting snakes in them.
Oh yeah, I did say that,
is
didn't I?
is that like a euphemism? Where are the snakes going?
Oh,
I'll put a snake in you.
I'm just enough on the on the asexuality spectrum that I didn't notice until this moment how much of a gross sexual brag calling yourself the Grand Serpent is. Yeah, no, he it is not a
Maybe
it's not
he's
a
a
euphemism.
centaur, but just down there is snake.
He's like a reverse Medusa.
I don't know if that's the reverse part of like, what's the reverse of hair? Penis.
Penis. That's a fair
You
criticism.
look at it, you turn to stone. That must be really unfortunate for him. Every time someone looks at his wang, they turn to stone. Is that what the big rock is? Maybe he was like,
I
he was
think
gonna
that's.
have a
I
nice
think
evening.
I think we just cracked what the weeping angels are. Honestly. Okay,
Oh
the
no!
weeping angels are reverse Medusas. That's. Um. No. So it is not a euphemism. The Grand Serpent literally has an alien snake thing that's his like companion, but also slash part of him, and he can like summon it inside
In his
someone's body, and then it crawls out their mouth and like reattaches to him and just like phases into his body.
But how did the snake get in? Is it just like morph through them, or like, because it has to go in somewhere, right? We only got so many orifices. It's got to pick one, or does it make one? Fun fact: do you know that's how ticks reproduce? They don't have a hole, so they just stab.
What? Wait,
So
now I have a question. Every time I've gotten a tick bite, is that sexual assault?
it's ticks, or it might be fleas. I should clarify. It's like a little bug like that. It might be fleas. The reason, like, Isabella Rossellini, end of sentence. Isabella Rossellini used to do this like short video series where she would talk about the mating rituals of different animals, but she would dress up as the animals.
Okay.
And then the other animal that she'd be mating with would be a puppet. And she made it like very sensual all the times, while even like she would be the I'm pretty sure it's a flea now. I might have been like, I don't think it was a tick. I think it was a flea. Just like,
Okay.
I was just like stabbing into it and learning stuff like dolphins use all of the holes. They use their blowholes for sex.
Yes. I
And
know that I think it's dolphins, bonobo chimps, and humans are the only documented species that have sex for pleasure rather
bats.
than bats too.
Bats they suck their own dicks. they have been documented pleasuring themselves. But yeah, I know that's one of the things of
Amazing.
like it's how they gauge the intelligence of certain species is
Oh.
have they figured out how to have sex for fun?
Again, as somebody who's on the
It's
asexuality
asexual.
spectrum, I'm like, are scientists calling me dumb right now? What's going on? I
Called out by science.
I feel like that's the kind of thing that the Doctor of Doctor Who fame would be like, that's pretty human-centric of you. Like, species
Yeah.
can like be intelligent in all sorts of ways. But scientists, scientists are always thinking about sex. That's what I learned from watching The Big Bang Theory.
Yeah. 2 episodes ago.
Yeah. Oh gosh. All right. So I'm gonna tell you what's actually happening in this clip because it's it's really short, but this is just when so it's at the end of the Flux arc. It's the last episode, and the good guys are chasing each other through the tunnels under Liverpool.
Now, by the good guys, do we mean the doctor and her companions, or do we mean other people? Because it's I like we can be honest, the doctor isn't always on the side of good.
That's fair.
They are just the protagonist.
Yeah, no, the doctor's there. Honestly, I can't. I didn't watch the entire episode in preparation for this, so I don't remember who is there. But I know that it's Instant V Vendor who pushes him through a doorway at this weird like space time rift, and pushes him out onto this asteroid, and then like destroys the door. And that flash that you saw in the clip was the door vanishing,
Oh no.
and they just strand him on this asteroid. Um, and so I have a little
He's
bit of
just a
a.
big snake.
He's
This
just
I
a big
actually
snake.
I know I have not seen this because so I started watching Flux and then I was watching it with my partner and then they decided to go watch it with somebody else and I was like, "Oh, well, now I'm not
Oh no!
I thought I was caught up on this." And
Aw.
now and it's also that this is during a period of Doctor Who where I'm not necessarily chomping at the bit to be watching Doctor Who.
Fair. Well, and obviously that is because you're not, you're watching it out of order. You weren't watching it in the Stitches in Time order.
Yeah,
You were
like
watching it in this
I
crazy time traveling, jumping around order.
yeah, like I think that this adds a lot to it of I don't know what the Grand Serpent has done. I didn't even know what Grand Serpent I'm looking for a snake and here's just a guy who apparently he's just stuck on a rock forever. Is he just stuck on a rock for the rest of the universe?
Probably.
I was even kind of thinking like, oh, maybe this is the start of the episode, and that's like, oh, then his origin, and then he comes back later as a
Oh,
snake. Or also because I do know because I've seen a random clip of a big puppet snake fighting a human woman. So I was like, well, maybe that's the origin story of that big puppet snake fighting a human
I do
woman.
like that. There, like, I think, and I don't think I'm the first person to think of this, but there are like, so that's, I think what you're thinking of is the Mara, which was a Fifth Doctor enemy that was like a snake that like was trying to like control Tegan, I believe.
Yes.
In
Because wasn't it like, oh, you can't look at it or something? Because you
something like
get
that.
mind control.
It was like it became a tattoo on her arm or something. I don't remember specifically. The story's called Kinda.
Yeah.
Um,
I have
and
not seen Kinda. I've heard a lot of references to Kinda, but I have just seen a woman fighting a puppet snake because they mostly just wanted to show me, hey, do you want to see how fucked up this snake looks?
oh, interesting. Okay. Yeah, I don't remember much about Kinda off the top of my head. And the Mara comes back also. There's like another episode that's a Fifth Doctor episode that the Mara shows up in, and I can't remember what it's called right now. But
It's called Flux. Uh,
it's called Flux, Chapter 6, The Vanquishers.
the Fifth Doctor is just off screen the entire time.
Amazing. Yeah, so this is there's also the other snake that I think of is at the beginning of series 9, the 12th Doctor, and there's that guy Colony Sarf who's just a bunch of snakes in a big black robe. Do you remember that guy?
No.
No. Amazing.
So which of those? Because this one is apparently the Grand Serpent, but I'm not seeing a lot of. I'm certainly not seeing Serpent, and I would also kind of question Grand.
Sure.
Which one of those do you think is an actual Grand Serpent?
Ooh. I think the Mara is probably the grandest serpent of, going specifically by that definition. I think Colony Sarf is grand for a serpent, but he's not just one serpent. He's many serpents.
He's in a trench coat?
He's like
trying to sneak into a movie theater.
Yes, that's exactly what he is. And then I think this guy is, he's got the serpent thing because he's like, I mean, because of what I know about his snake powers, but also just like, he's kind of a jerk.
He's just very hot topic.
But he's not very grand because now he's just stranded on an asteroid forever.
Like it's also a thing of like, if I want grand, I don't want just a guy in a jacket. Like, could I have a coat maybe? I think if you're gonna call yourself grand, you need to have like a coat.
That's fair. Well, and I think also like this being his doom, his fate, his
he's doomed to be in a jacket.
Like, I think he was more grand, as we will see later, before this point in his life. And you'll get to see him be grand and serpentine in several hundred episodes, probably. I haven't done the math.
And maybe, like, that's the way that the universe thinks is the best way for it to go, because he needs to start off not grand and just kind of a guy on a rock.
Exactly.
That also, his little hair streak, that's gonna, like, he doesn't have someone there to constantly be fixing that up and bleaching its roots. He's just gonna, like, have, like, long, shaggy hair and then just a little blonde piece back down here. I don't even think that he has scissors to cut it.
Well, he is an alien, so maybe his hair just takes care of itself.
The snake just bites the hair off.
The snake is his barber. I love that.
What's he gonna eat? There wasn't anything out there. I think the doctor killed this person.
I really like how much you care about the Grand Serpent because you have no context of what a crappy guy he is.
Okay, well, crappy guys aside, we've seen a lot of crappy guys. Like, Doctor Who is full of crappy guys. The Master, I would say, was a pretty bad guy. But it still isn't like, hey, I'm just gonna leave you to starve on a big rock. There's nothing around. I'm not even sure whether you can even breathe the atmosphere.
I mean, he seems to be doing fine in this clip. So, I don't know. Maybe this is his origin story. Maybe he's gonna come back and be the Mara, or be Colony Sarf, or be some other snake that probably exists in Doctor Who that I'm not thinking of.
Yeah. I gotta say as well, again, I really thought that this was like kind of the start of an episode, or like the beginning of something, of like, cause you just get some mystery of like, oh, what's that flash, what's it kind of gonna be, and it didn't really feel like a grand exit for like, we've defeated this guy. It just felt like a guy walking. Well,
and so I do have, I think one of the biggest problems with Flux was that they had to cut the season down apparently significantly because they were filming it like right at the start of the COVID pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
So I think originally it was supposed to be like 2 more episodes, but then they like had to cut it down. So I definitely got the sense that like Chris Chibnall just was like, I still want to do everything I planned, but I have to like trim it up a lot. So I think if he had had more episodes greenlit to work with, I assume that the Grand Serpent being exiled to an asteroid would have felt a little more grand, because it felt very fast to me.
I have more questions about the Grand Serpent, and so does he have a snake or he is a snake?
He he has a snake,
So
I
shouldn't the
think.
snake be the Grand Serpent and he's just Nathan?
Yeah, but they're
I've
kind
decided his
of
name is Nathan.
okay. I really like that, especially because we do find out that the Grand Serpent is a title he gave himself, and we don't know what his like name before that was. So
But he
I
shouldn't.
I
I think
like Nathan.
the snake might be the Grand Serpent. I
Mm.
just think this is Nathan.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
And he's just kind of stolen valor of I got a really cool snake from the store and I learned how to absorb it in my body, which snakes love. Have you ever hung out with a snake?
Um, I've never put one inside my body.
Well, you don't do that. But I will say I did a photo shoot with a snake once, or
Oh.
with multiple snakes. And snakes they had to do a whole kind of introduction of here's how to deal with the snakes, and there's always the concern of like, oh, a snake's gonna bite me, a snake's gonna eat me. Particularly they had like big ass like big pythons and shit,
Oh.
and but I only did one or two things with them, but mostly I was doing stuff with like smaller snakes, and there was a baby snake that was like, oh, this is like a boa. This will be a giant snake, but right now it's only like a few months old, so it's just a little guy.
Cute.
Uh, but they had specific rules about you need the snake to think that you're just a warm tree, because if you start moving your hand around and do stuff, it's gonna think that it's like a mouse or something and is gonna want to bite you. And they had like a
Mm.
special spray or something that they would like put on to like get the snake to release. And these weren't because these were the type of snakes that tend to just like swallow stuff whole. They didn't have like massive teeth, and also they weren't poisonous or venomous snakes. They were just the kind where their whole thing is they just swallow and hold you.
Mm.
Uh,
Interesting.
but they were like, okay, so just think of a tree. You just have to be a tree. You have to kind of be like slow and like don't make any sudden movements, and it's kind of hold stuff out and they'll just wrap around you. But snakes, because they're cold blooded, they love warmth. So they would just
Oh.
they wanted to be in my hair, like behind my hair, and they wanted to be deep in my titties. Like just
That's
snake
incredible.
just wrap. I was because it was like a sexy little shoot, so I was
Yeah.
wearing like lingerie and bikinis and like cute little swimsuits and stuff,
Hmm.
and just wrapped all around. It was like, I just want to be here, I want to be here. So I this is not
Amazing.
to say that you should put a snake inside you, but it is to say that I think a snake would like it.
The snakes always want to be inside me, and I will never sleep again.
Yeah, it's
Great.
I think that they would enjoy it, but just more morally, and they don't get the context for why that's a bad thing. And obviously
Mm.
I also don't think that would be a good time for you, but I
Fair.
do like snake just want warm, and inside people warm.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So maybe Grand Serpent just want to be like, oh, I want to be inside warm, and fucking Nathan is like, I know how you can be warm, and
Nathan's a little pervert.
I'm going back around. I don't like Nathan anymore. I'm glad you're
Oh,
stuck on that
really?
rock,
Yeah, yeah,
Nathan.
yeah. There he is. He's stuck on that cold, lifeless rock. Now, I do want to read because I have the script in front of me, which sets a very different scene. So they're in Liverpool. They're in the tunnels where the doors are. I know that means nothing to you, but to our listeners, um, and Vinder says, open door 7. Grand Serpent opens it. Blinding light and mist. He recoils, looks at them. Vinder, you want to know who I am? I'm the man who understands the pain of exile. Vinder shoots the floor near him. Grand Serpent walks forward. Cut to exterior ocean background, day. Grand Serpent walks into the ocean landscape that the gang stumbled into in scene X2. I don't know what that is. The loudest...
It's Final Fantasy X too.
Oh, okay, great.
He walks into Final Fantasy X too.
Obviously. The loudest, bassiest, screechiest roars. He looks up in terror, turns back. The door is gone. He spins, no escape, alone in the landscape. He looks up in terror as the screams of the unseen creature echo out. Cut to the rest of the episode. That was his fate originally.
Yeah, so that's a lot more than what happened. Like, there's dialogue, there's characters, there's oh no, there's Final Fantasy X too.
There's Final Fantasy X too. To be fair, that dialogue does happen. It's just in 2021, not 6 billion BC. So
he's also is apparently going on a beach, a previously seen beach, a foreshadowing beach.
Yeah. So that very much feels to me like, oh yeah, if we had more time and more money, and we didn't have to like cut things down so much,
if they just didn't kick us off that beach.
But instead, he's just stranded on an asteroid.
I was gonna say, like, oh, that's at least nice for the Grand Serpent. The Grand Serpent being the snake that is inside him,
right,
not
yes.
Nathan. Fuck Nathan. But it would be nice for the snake because it's like, oh, well, it's warm and there's other creatures so you can eat, and I'm not worried about that. But then
right.
I'm like, oh, this is probably a beach in England, which is not, that doesn't count. You should go to a beach in Florida.
All bad guys should be exiled to Florida and forced to live there forever.
To Jack's Beach, which is the beach that I grew up near, which is the first, if you're going down the East Coast, like, Jacksonville is referred to as the first coast because it's literally the first beach that you get to. You'll notice, despite the fact that everyone has to drive past it to go there, it's not a tourist destination. Everyone's like, drive lower to get to a better beach. Don't stop till you hit Miami.
That's incredible. I love that. Well, I feel like I have nothing else for this 11-second clip.
No.
So I'm happy to call it there.
Of this Snodcast, Snake Podcast.
This grand Snodcast. And we'll next time we're going to be talking about the Infinite Quest, which I'm very excited. Oh, I did want to say this is the first episode of the podcast. So this is the first clip in the Stitches in Time edit of Doctor Who that is random number generated.
Okay. I was wondering about how you dated this.
A lot of stories and clips like this aren't like specifically given a time when they happen. So what I have to do is use a random number generator to place it in the canon. And this just happened to be kind of luck of the draw. And it got placed at 6 billion BC. Which is fun.
There is a snake that is stuck in pre-Earth. Mm-hmm. There's no trees.
There's no trees.
There might be a sun to be warm, but that snake's gonna be cold.
Well, he's got Nathan for warmth, and honestly, he's probably got Nathan for food.
Long live Snake! Long live Snake!
Yeah, we're going to be talking about the Infinite Quest next time. And if you have any questions, I have an email address, matrixarchivist@gmail.com. So, if you have any questions to send into the podcast, let me know, and we'll get to it in like 20 episodes because we're recording a bunch of these ahead of time so that we don't fall off.
I have an email address, which is help@walmart.com.
Oh, is that you?
Yeah. Just send your questions. I'll help you.
Great. Thanks for listening to Stitches in Time. Music by Becca the Matrix Archivist. Art by Mandy Akenda. Logo by Ben Padden. Email us at matrixarchivist@gmail.com.
info@butterballturkey.com.
Who are you?